Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for the market overview. Okay, so we're going to be looking at the general markets mainly. So Dixie, the Dow, S&P, NASDAQ, gold, silver, oil. We'll take a look at Bitcoin, and then I'll take some questions, whether it's on what I went over or if you just want me to look at other things like other crypto or other stocks. I'll let you ask me in the Discord. So let's get started. So looking at the dollar, beautiful. That's all I gotta say. Beautiful. So came up, filled this fair value gap, this bearish fair value gap it formed, and from the filling started dumping down into the next major zone. So it's starting to grab the liquidity under this swing low. So we are at that point where we can see a significant reversal to the upside. Now, this doesn't mean that we're bottoming out here, but it does mean we can see a move back all the way back to 108 very comfortably, and then continuation to the downside to ultimately, in my opinion, visit this up this ascending trend line here from pretty much the low swing down here at about 91ish. So watch for this ascending trend line to eventually get visited, in my opinion, and I think it'll be at some point when we have confluence around this level here, so right around 102ish. So the bottom end of the blue zone it just entered. All right, so we are looking for more downside on the dollar, but we've definitely entered that point where upside can come easily. All right, quickly let's take a look at the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ. So Dow trading in this bearish fair value gap and then wicked down into this bullish one, pretty much filling it completely. So this actually got filled. So let's actually get rid of this one now. We do have one lower right here, but this got wicked into a couple times, but it didn't get filled in the sense you didn't have a closure through this. So it's still viable. Okay, it's still somewhat viable. So we can see that breakdown towards this level and then find support around this zone. In my opinion, it's more likely if we have price break down towards this level, the probabilities would suggest that we take out the liquidity under this wick and break down probably to the descending trend line we broke bullish. Okay, and that would be a normal bullish retracement to a support zone. And if it's held, then we would look for continuation over time to make another higher high from these lows here. So you'll make a low. We've made a higher high from this high swing here, and then we'll make a higher low somewhere around this zone here, hopefully, and then we would break up again and make a new higher high from this potential swing high here. Okay, so I'm liking what I'm seeing, but I do see potentially we're getting to that point where watch for pullbacks, and it makes sense now that the dollar's in a zone of I would say some demand. Okay, next is S&P. So S&P's pretty strong, similar to Bitcoin as well. We can actually get rid of this bearish fair value gap. This got filled by this big candle right here, and now we are slowly trying to tap into this fair value gap. We got really close here. And I'm actually going to get rid of the arrows now. We don't really need them anymore because we mostly followed the red line, the red pathway. We just didn't get towards this low pivot down here, which is actually right here, the high pivot before the COVID drop. But I think we'll eventually get there, but it may take some more time. We'll probably get there sometime next year, in my opinion. But we are showing signs of a pullback coming, because take a look at this. It's the same thing with the Dow. I mean, you have a rising structure here. Actually, let me draw that a little bit better. So sort of like this. So we have this rising structure here that's likely going to break bearish. Now, this doesn't mean that we're just going to make new lows. It may be. Okay, we have to respect the macro trend has changed. So we may be making new lows once we break this structure on the S&P. But I'm thinking that we'll probably make a higher low from these lows down here, and that could potentially lead to continuation getting towards the 4200s and potentially even the 4500s, and then breaking down again. Okay. Next is the NASDAQ. We'll take a quick look at NASDAQ. NASDAQ looks very, very strong. Broke the descending channel, confirmed above it, retested it as support, and it started trading within this fair value gap, the top side of it, and popped up from it. And honestly, if we have a strong start next week, I mean, all three of them, Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ, could see a nice move, but I think the NASDAQ may see the best move because it just has like not that much in between here and this green zone here. There's a lot of open air here because of this huge imbalance candle here. So we could definitely see this just shoot right on up towards 12, 12,450, 12,480 around that zone, and potentially even break towards 12,500 for the NASDAQ. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good sign if you're looking for risk on assets, because the NASDAQ pretty much holds most of those risk on assets, namely tech. And now let's take a quick look at oil, and then we'll go to gold, silver. Oil, had a breakdown, had a nice pop up, filled this bearish fair value gap. We can actually get rid of this one now too. Tapped into this one and hasn't shown the follow through to break through yet. In my opinion, you're probably going to see oil break down some more. Okay, I think you're going to come back to 75 and potentially come lower towards this descending trend line here. So all the way down towards 70. But we've hit that point, just like with the dollar, we can see a significant rally in oil because we've grabbed a lot of liquidity from our descent all the way from 120s plus. So we've grabbed the liquidity under this swing low. We probably have some liquidity pulling here, but again, we have a lot of liquidity above our head as well now. So do not be surprised if we do break down towards 75, hold this level and create some short-term bottoming structure and then break up higher, getting back towards the 90s and 100s. And that will coincide if we have rising tensions overseas regarding the war, especially with China, what's going on there. They could be brewing up for a move towards Taiwan as they're going into potentially like a rebellion, right? So they may feel pressure to just go into Taiwan and try and take it to try and appease their population. And that sort of behavior will spike oil. And then same thing, with Europe, the oil supplies are so small, if any, are there, and it's going to be a cold winter. We're just getting started. So there may be a spike in demand and very little supply. So be careful with oil. It could spike up at any point now. The moment it touched 75, I had said this was it. Like, it could go lower, and if it goes lower, we're looking all the way down to 60. But we're in the zone where oil can now go all the way up to like 150, and it would make complete sense on the macro. All right, like oil is bullish in my opinion. The farther you look out, broke this descending trend line. This is the monthly trend line, bullish. Yes, it lost this trend line, but this is a parabolic line, so it's expected to lose this level, this ascending trend line. And honestly, this descending structure that's built here, I do think we're probably going to see this play out. It's a very big structure on the monthly. All right, looking at gold now. So let's take a quick look at gold. Gold came to 1800 as I thought it would. It looked like it was ready to do it. Now, it didn't hold it on Friday. But this is very, very powerful. We've started to finally tap this swing high, this high pivot over here. We actually didn't really wick above the high of this wick here. So there's still liquidity that's pulled above there. So we may actually see a bigger push into gold. I do think we see more upside on gold, but we may have to see a pullback slightly before we see that continuation. But once we start taking out this swing high here, I would be looking for a more significant pullback because I do believe it's very likely, if we just go by how the structure, how parabolic this is and just how powerful this consolidation has been, that once we get past this swing high, it's going to take a lot of power to break past this. Okay, so we'll probably see something sort of like this and then a very hard rejection down and then a longer consolidation. Now, if this consolidation is going to be bullish, that's going to be obviously the best case scenario because the point of that will be to try and get enough fuel to break past as much of this consolidation as possible. Or we actually may see a topping structure, right? So what I mean by that is you could have that pullback here and then you could have a minor high and then you can make some sort of head and shoulder structure. You could also make some sort of rising wedge structure where it's something like this. So anything that looks like a topping structure here is going to be very, very strong and the probabilities will be very high for a pullback. Now, this doesn't mean that gold's done rising. It just means the retracement's going to be much deeper and you're going to be taking all the liquidity below this level most likely, filling out probably almost all of these fair value gaps. The lower one here may not get fully filled. And then as long as you make a higher low from this low down here, you are good to go higher. But the move to the upside will take much, much longer. If I had to guess, I think we already see the structure potentially, right? So I've gone over in a couple other market recaps So I suggest you make sure to watch those so you know what I'm talking about. But look at gold. You have the left shoulder here. You have the head, and then if we come down to this fair value gap right here, then we're looking at potentially that right shoulder, and then you have a much larger structure here. And now it makes a lot more sense because what are we making right now? Well, technically this could be the neckline. Okay, so you have this high here, and then you just had this impulse move up here, and then so far it's not been able to get past it, so you have a potential neckline there. And then we can do the measured move. So if this is the neckline, right, so let's say it is, go down to the low of the head, and we did break. Actually, I have to straighten that out. My apologies. Right there. Okay. Actually, make that a little bit lower right there. All right. So then we'd be looking for a break here, and that would get us towards taking out this consolidation and coming into this fair value gap up here. What a coincidence that we come into a liquidity zone. It's so cool how this stuff all just kind of works together. So you have this fair value gap right here, and that full extension, that full one-to-one move, if this did turn out to be an inverse head and shoulders with a deep pullback here, would be all the way to this fair value gap to get filled. Okay, so pretty cool. We'll see if that actually plays out. We'll see if that confirms, because next week, if the dollar were to open up strong, or really just tomorrow, if the futures on the dollar were to open up very, very weak, and then we had a strong market open tomorrow on Monday, then you might just see gold blast off higher, and we may not even be building out this potential structure. Okay. Next is silver. So silver, very strong. Very, very strong. Catching up to gold, in my opinion. We took out the liquidity above this swing high here, and now we're filling out some of this imbalance here. So where I would look to watch silver slow down is right here would be the first level, this minor little fair value gap right here. And then you have a little bit of a bigger one right here. So this general zone right here going from about 24.429 to as low as 23.926. So this zone here, I would look for silver to show some weakness, whether it's going to be a bullish consolidation or a retracement, most likely a retracement. Then look for, eventually you can look for another entry long, as it comes into key levels. But right now, this is looking like a train coming into this resistance zone over here. Very nice move on silver. Very, very nice move. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin. Let's see what's going on today with Mr. Bitcoin. Okay, yes. Okay. So I actually like what I'm seeing on Bitcoin. So we had to break, so we broke up from this descending trend line. Now we haven't had any closures above this candle here. So to me, that would be a confirmation that we've broken past this trend line once more. As of now, we've just begun the breakout structure. And what I'm actually seeing here, depending on how price actually continues to trade, this could turn into a bull flag structure, but it's very early on, okay? So we have to give this some time. I would say ideally either tomorrow or Monday this plays out if it's a bull flag. If it goes farther than that, that might take too long, and it might start invalidating itself, because you don't want, like, flags, they have a really, really strong emphasis on time. If they take too long, they start to invalidate and starts turning into another structure. So watch this very closely. It looks very good right now. And if we do start grinding lower, where we don't have like a hard break down, like a trending move down like this, but if we have something like where you're trading here, then we trade up, and then we trade down, kind of like this over time, that's what I really like to see, and that does heighten the probabilities of that structure validating and playing out and going up. And if this were to actually happen, we probably just look to target the low side of the consolidation here, which tends to be the low side of this fair value gap here. So around 18,000 to 18,500 is where I'm looking for Bitcoin to get to potentially, if we can see this actually blossom into a real bullish structure. All right, so I think that is everything we got, and I'll take any questions. It's only Enric and Iscariot. Good to see you both. This is recorded, guys, so there's a VOD. So if you are watching the VOD and you didn't join the live stream, that's okay. Just check out the VOD, and you'll get the recap from there. So do either of you, Enric or Iscariot, have any questions, or do you want me to look at something for you, I'm all yours. If not, I can just end it now. It's not a big deal. So just let me know. And Enric, if you don't want to hop on the mic, I know you said you were at work or something. You can just type it in. You can just type it in on the general discussion room. Okay. Oh, I see you typing. Okay. Yeah, I can look at ETH for you. Let me see. ETH. Hold on. Let me go to my thing here. Okay. So Ethereum. Okay. So Ethereum is pretty interesting. So a little bit ahead of Bitcoin. So you can see this candle is engulfing yesterday's candle. So I'm curious to see how this one will close. As long as this doesn't really trend down hard, we could see this kind of grind lower, kind of like what I was mentioning with Bitcoin. The ultimate target level I'm seeing that it's probably going to get to is this pretty large fair value gap. But you got to be pretty careful with this stuff because a lot of these structures are pretty immature on the daily. Even though we broke this descending trend line, just like with Bitcoin, we broke the descending trend line, we have to watch and see, are we just building out a bearish rising structure on some of these coins? It's a little too soon to tell, but I am liking what I'm seeing. If we do have that pullback back towards, let's say, like 1220, and we can hold it, that's a really good sign that we're going to potentially start a short-term trend to the upside on ETH, which will probably be on a lot of different coins if ETH is going to do it. Overall, though, we have to have somewhat of a bearish bias, but Ethereum's pretty interesting. I mean, it has that higher low here. It has the low here, and then it has the higher low here. But after that FTX drop, just failing off of this trend line and breaking this consolidation, like it does look fairly ugly. But I do like when I look at crypto, it's really far behind the equity market. It's really, really far behind the S&P, the NASDAQ, and I think that's mainly because of what happened with FTX. So if we're in the process of it trying to catch up, there's some likelihood that we're going to see some upside here. But a lot of these questions will get answered tomorrow once the dollar starts opening up. But just looking at this, I'm looking for a pullback to at least 1220. If we lose that, we do have a very small fair value gap right here. So I'll just mark it. It's a very, very small bullish fair value gap. Now this doesn't. I wouldn't put so much stock into this one, because the structure would tell me that it would probably come lower and take out the liquidity under this wick down here. So any liquidity here from this mine and a little pullback would probably get targeted. And if we are going to make a higher low, it would be around that zone. Okay, so if we're going to make a higher low from these lows down here, it'll probably be from around here. Just so the market maker comes into this level and then grabs that liquidity and then zooms it. Well, doesn't zoom it up that much, but zooms it up back towards the consolidation over here. All right, but the way the consolidation may look, that's when it may start looking bearish, right? Just because we're making a higher low potentially from these lows. Take a look at how this price action kind of looks. So let's clean this up just a little bit, right? Hold on one second. So it's very important you keep in mind how price action looks. So if we're coming in down like this and we come and take out these lows to grab the liquidity under here, and then we pop up and kind of make a lower high from this level, you're starting to squeeze now, right? So you're starting to squeeze from here down to here. And now it starts looking like a bit of a bigger bearish structure. And that's not what you want to see if you want to see upside. Because then it turns into a much larger bear flag structure or wedge or symmetrical triangle, whatever you want to call it. In this context, it would be a bear flag because of the drop here and then the consolidation here. So I'm short term, I see this as a bullish retracement back, but it could be with a larger bearish structure. So we have to continue to observe. We have to stay vigilant and make sure we're nimble enough that if that's what happens, if that's what's actually being painted, we can take advantage of it or avoid it. Okay. All right. Anything else from anyone else? So hey, Desco, if you have any questions, you can just type it in. You don't have to come on the mic if you want. I'll read it from there. If you do want to come on the mic, you're free to do so, of course. Yeah, thanks, Scary. Yeah, stay nimble. Stay nimble. If you're nimble, it's not easy trading, but you can make it easier. And one of the easiest ways to make it easy is staying nimble, for damn sure. Oh, and all three of you guys are, well, two of you are new learners, and Enric's been a learner for some time. So I'm looking forward to having tutoring sessions with you guys. I hope you guys enjoy. It's going to be good. I think it's going to be good at least. So, but I'm a little biased. Well, Enric, it's been pretty good, right? Yeah, thanks, man. All right. Anyone have any more questions? If not, I can just end it now. I don't want to waste anyone's time. All right. So I guess I'll just end it now. Essentially, if you missed the live stream, this will be a recap overall, and it'll be open. The VOD will be open for everyone to watch. So, just let me know if you have any questions, whether you're a free member or premium member. That's okay. I'll try and answer them best I can. And yeah, that's it. Everyone, remember, be patient, be vigilant, and be nimble. I love you guys. Take care. Bye.